Hello, everyone.
My phone didn't want to work.
His phone didn't want to work.
Didn't want to do sound.
That's how we test our sound. Anyway, today we are reviewing by popular consensus and request the favorite narrow-body airliner for the domestic market, the Boeing 757, also affectionately known as the Flying Pencil. Why? Thank you for asking. So, in most visual cases, when you look at the plane, not this bottom up view here, it looks like a literal flying pencil. And when it takes off, it incurs the possibility of a tail strike. What is a tail strike? Thank you for asking again. So a tail strike is exactly what it sounds like, when the tail of the aircraft scrapes the bottom of the asphalt of the runway. So basically, when that happens, it emits sparks of metal scraping against asphalt, and eventually, if it continues, it can take off the tail of the plane, or put a hole in the bottom of the plane anyway. So, moving on, Boeing commercial airplanes created the 757 back in 1972. Initially was the concept. It was created to succeed the 727, which was the domestic trijet of the time. The widely used domestic trijet. Sorry. Now, what I mean by trijet is that it has the two engines that you see there, plus the engine mounted above the rear fuselage. Therefore, trijet. Obviously, trijets are on their way out, but at the time they were very, very popular. Basically, the 7N7, as the 757 was known at the time, was created to do a.
Keep talking. Phone's being dumb still.
Created to, well, as I said, succeed the 727, and it was created to basically ferry passengers for medium to short routes, with a maximum range of 3,917 kilometers, or nautical miles, I should say, which means just over 4,000 miles. So it could easily make the trip from, let's say, Cleveland to Los Angeles or San Francisco on one tank of gas, easily. It has a sort of a convex wing form there. This was the early United version of the 757, and they were initially created to eventually some plans, but initially work alongside the 727. But overall, to take them over, and they have at this point. They can hold upwards of 200 passengers in basically a 3x2 or 3-2 and a 3-3 configuration.
Do we have any internal pictures?
Yes, further on.
I didn't remember seeing any, but. And again, this should be the last one that we have, where it's going to be pictures. We're trying to bring you guys more transitions and videos once we get back from Germany. Part of the reason you can blame on it is Tech Minion not having enough time thanks to schoolwork. Okay, you sent that?
I sent you.
Okay.
One with a copy photo.
Oh, those must have been sent later. Oops.
No, they were sent before with the group.
Oh. Apparently Tech Minion really sucks at his job.
as if we need more evidence.
Shush!
So this is the Continental 757. This is the Dash 200 variant. Obviously before the 2010 merger with United. They still, like United's elected to keep the livery, so in modern day, obviously Continental is replaced with United, the writing, and the livery itself is kept. But they are normally powered by either two Rolls-Royce RB211 engines or two Pratt & Whitney PW2000 engines, depending on if it flies in the US or in Europe. Now, keep in mind, almost all European 757s have been retired.
What, even this one?
Yes, this is from...
Because that's a new Icelandic Air livery.
It is, but this is from easily 5 years ago.
Stuff happens, which is... I've actually flown on what I assume was a 757 in the old livery. It was from JFK to Iceland, to Reykjavik.
Now, that would not be an uncommon route for a 757.
Yeah. It was actually a pretty nice flight overall. The 757s with their flying pencils are relatively comfortable. Unless, of course, the airline sucks.
Looking at you, JetBlue, United, I'm sorry, no, not United. JetBlue, American, most low-cost carriers, but not Spirit or, fellow airlines like that.
Spirit, Frontier, or Southwest.
Yeah, they do not use the 757. They use the, A321 and A220, and Southwest exclusively uses the 737-800.
I think that... Why is that again? Is it because the flying pencil doesn't have as much space?
Yeah, well, actually, 757 has more space overall for passengers, but Southwest chooses to keep their planes in a uniform system. That way they can cut down maintenance costs.
Spare parts, yeah.
That way a broken down plane in Orlando can use the spare part they keep in Seattle.
And this one was one of the Boeing originals, wasn't it?
Other than that, this was the first production prototype. 757-100. Rolling out of Boeing Renton factory. This was also one of the first planes that did not require a three-person crew.
Right, yeah, because they took away the engineer because they made it easier to use and everything else, I believe.
They replaced the flight engineer with advanced electronics and avionics.
Which, stopping from that, what we're actually going to do is, so all of you guys can see it, this will actually demonstrate the part about the way it does it. So, give us 1 second and we'll get this to where you guys can actually see a takeoff.
Very impressive, actually. So that was the Boeing 757 from Delta Airlines taking off from London Heathrow for a stopover at Iceland before continuing on to the U.S.
Now, that didn't show us the inside of the cockpit, which we'll get to that on a landing, I believe you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason we included that is a lot of you guys have said you wanted more videos and you want more transitions, so while it is a little bit, I guess you would say, janky.
Wonky.
Yeah. We're still experimenting with how to get it. Plus, to quote the fired Bill O'Reilly, we're doing it live.
So this one obviously here has has the Rolls-Royce engines, the RB211s. You can tell because of the logo on the engine cowlings. But this was the first prototype. Now this was the defunct Air Lancis and the defunct Air Europe. You know, Air Europe was
actually Air Europe is using a triple engine, isn't it?
No, Air Lancis is using a triple engine.
I speak good, I swear.
Air Lancis is using a 727, and Air Europe is using a 757. Its successor.
And, of course, I assume one of the biggest problems with the 757 and some of the other ones was when they had to crash, for instance, on water. That became quite a problem, didn't it?
Well, it's a problem for any airline. Any airplane, really. I mean, airplanes are not water-soluble or buoyant.
Well, what I mean is the Air Atlantis could actually land flat belly, whereas your 757s would scoop.
Well, yes. I mean, you would turn the engines into giant scoops of water, which would weigh it down, flood the fuel tanks, and flood the passenger compartment, and you would have a sinking aircraft.
And that is if they don't rip it off and have bad things happen, which I believe what happened to the one hijacked airline for Ethiopian Air, wasn't it?
Yeah. When one engine scooped up water and turned the aircraft...
Cartwheeled,
yeah. Now, that still happens with the tri-jets, but the engine is mounted higher up in the cowling, helps it to alleviate the problem for a couple minutes anyway.
Which is why the only reason that, for instance, Sully Sullenberger got lucky is because somehow he did it right.
It's not just somehow. What he did was he unpowered the engines, cutting all fuel, because after a bird strike, fuel is still pouring into engines.
Right.
And he glided the aircraft into the river.
And I believe he kept it at an up angle, so it was tail hit first, right?
Yes. But he also managed to gently set it on the water.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly difficult to do.
Yeah. We're referencing, for those of you who are still unsure what we're talking about, The Miracle on the Hudson, which has had countless movies made about it.
But it has really no bearing here. That was a completely different aircraft from a defunct airline, which has been bought up by American Airlines now, and it took just after that incident took place, and took place with an Airbus A320.
But the reason for the reference was the scooping possibility of the engines that you can even see more prevalently here. I mean, when that gear is up, the lowest hanging part is the engines.
So this was the front-on view of the 757. You can, I mean, they're almost like, for you structured nerds out there, ram scoops, almost.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the nose cones, they're actually turning rapidly.
Yeah, for those of you who have flown on the airplane, and when you look out, if you see those little spirals that are there.
But this also shows a very good view of the conventional tail and the Spirex wing. So I want to get this terminology right.
Was that before the winglets?
Yes.
Yeah. They go along with wonderful different names for all this. It's really annoying.
Let's see. Supercritical wings for reduced aerodynamic drag, and a conventional tail.
Yeah. You can actually see a better view of it here with the British Airways.
Yes. This was an early livery for British Air, but soon enough it would take on the
One that we know and hate.
one we know and hate, yes, the flying swoop, as they call it.
But we hate them for a myriad of reasons.
I mean, I will gladly take British Air over a lot of airlines out there, but I still detest them.
Well, it's not just that. It's that you finally have some airport that is more congested than JFK, and that's not something easy to do. But that's an entire
You get into Heathrow and it's like walking into a
2-hour wait time on the tarmac.
Yeah.
Is what they had last time, I think.
Yep.
But anyway.
Anyway, yes. So this is registration number or registration Golf Bravo India Kilo Hotel, named Richmond Castle. A 757-200 with its flaps deployed and its spoilers up.
But yeah, speaking of that, what do you say we take a look at the landing?
Yes.
Alright, just give us a moment, boys and girls.
As soon as Techmanian learns how to use a computer.
No, it's not that Techmanian doesn't know how to use the computer. He just wants to make sure everybody's ears don't get blasted.
So, to give some background first, this is a 757 landing at Tegucigalpa, which is one of the most challenging airports in the world. And it requires you to come in at almost a 90-degree angle at near full power.
Alright, let's watch.
Don't be afraid. That just
So, that was, as I said, the Boeing 757 landing at Tegucigalpa International Airport. One of the most dangerous airports in the world. Basically, like I said, it requires you to come in at a very sharp angle and approach the runway at near full power with landing configuration deployed. The 757 was one of the first aircraft to be able to do so successfully. And, the 717 couldn't even try it. The 727 could barely make the trip, but the 757 could make it no problem as long as the pilot was successfully trained in the attempt.
Oh yeah. Alright, on to our next one, another defunct airline.
Monarch, another airline that went extinct very, very shortly after it received the 757s.
I assume Alps?
No. Those were the Rockies.
It was an American brand? Huh. Surprised I haven't heard of it. But yeah. Then we also have our...
Now, Eastern is still in existence today.
Sort of.
Sort of. Well, what I mean by that is that they started out strong, went for a few years, went defunct, were silent, obviously, for a few years, and then revived as a different Eastern airline, but still using the Eastern Airlines livery and moniker. And they have a very small fleet today, and they only do maybe 1 or 2 flights a month. This was their 757-200 version, and they could easily do their regularly scheduled trips from Florida, their base at Florida, to destinations in South America or Havana, Cuba, when they could, or to Bermuda, or to Cayman Islands.
Basically, they were Caribbean based.
Well, they were Florida based, but they did trips to the Caribbean.
Right. Now, of course...
Now, you can always tell the age of the airline, generally speaking, by how the engines look. If the engines are more canonical, or more conical in shape, like an actual cone, like that, then they're an older airline, or an older airplane, rather.
And then, of course, we have what most 757s have been turned into.
Yes, the main variant of 757 that keeps going is the PF, or package freight version. Most commonly, you will find the 757-200 PF or the 757-300 PF in service with DHL, obviously, or UPS, or FedEx Express Air Freight.
Speaking of UPS.
Yeah. Synchronizing the world of commerce. Yeah. Basically speaking, the 757 came in 3 variations. The package freight, or PF version, the freight, or F version, and the combi, or combination, obviously.
And that was the one used by South African Airlines that basically... No, that wasn't?
No.
Well, what model was that?
That was the 747.
That's right. But yeah, the 757 was also, like you said earlier, the first one to go from 4 to 2, which kind of freaked people out in the beginning.
4 to 2?
4 engines on 747 to 2 engines.
No. It was 3 engines to 2 engines. You're thinking of the 737.
I thought the 747 had the quad.
It does.
So they went for the 747, which was quad. So they went from 737, which is 3.
No.
No, 727. 727 2, then they went down.
No, they went 747 to the 727, which is 3. Then they went to 737, which is 2.
What are they doing? Using Intel naming conventions?
Well, sort of. They're using name conventions that denote the size and their advancement in technology and their advancement in distance traveled. Because the 747 was used for international trips, the 727 and 737 were used for short domestic hops.
So and the 757 again was also
meant for short and medium hops. Had a bit longer range than the 737, more passengers, but was a narrow body and was meant to bridge the gap between 727, 737, and 747 combined.
Whereas the 767 was the jumbo wide body.
So it's 747.
And then the 777 broke that convention by...
It was a twin jet wide body, which is still in service, and it was designed as a wide body that eclipsed 767 with advancements pioneered by the 757 and better ETOPS ratings and better engine ratings and better distance ratings than the 747.
Or for a while, so they said. Until they got all the kinks worked out. And then sometimes they didn't get the kinks worked out, much like, of course, Northwest Airlines never got the kinks worked out.
Well, they had most of the kinks worked out, and then they got bought up by Delta in 2008. Now, this was Delta was NWA's 757-200, carrying around 180 passengers on their model. Coming in for landing at Orlando.
And then, of course, for another one that we have, and another one coming in for landing, I'm trying to think of who that is.
We have a swan in the tail. I don't remember exactly who the airline is. I know it's defunct now.
But of course, then we get to the level of craziness. We're almost done, but we're going to finish up with a little treat for you guys. We just got to get there. So
the ultimate variant of the 757 was the C-32, which comes in two packages, the C-32 Alpha, or A, and the C-32B, or Bravo.
So that's... go ahead, sorry.
Now, the C-32A is simply a VIP transport. It's essentially Air Force 2. It is used commonly for domestic trips when Air Force 1, the massive 747, is either not available or impractical for the current usage, or the town the president's going to is not equipped for a 747.
So, this one is for rinky dinks. Smaller airports.
Now,
rinky dink airports.
Yeah. What they're showing here is the C-32 757B model. C-32B, which is the gatekeeper known by the USAF, U.S. Air Force, which is the only 757 capable of air-to-air refueling.
So that means not even Air Force 2 is capable of refueling?
No.
So what you're saying is, cannot be refueled?
No.
Huh.
Not in the air. Because it's designed for short to medium hops. Domestically. However, when President Biden went to Ukraine earlier this year, Air Force 2 was waiting for him, of course, at the time when he boards his Air Force 1. And he used that to transit around Central Europe.
Right, because he could go to a whole bunch of different ones, so it hopped from probably Washington Dulles to Reykjavik, bounced through probably most of those in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is a highly modified 757. It has built-in ECM capability, rather. Built-in anti-missile warfare, and built-in stealth equipment, and built-in... excuse me. Built-in...
It's got a flirt package, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And chaff?
Yeah. It has basically all the qualities the larger 747 that we all know and love has, but it has them smaller.
But yes, as promised to you guys...
Wait.
Oh.
Okay, it took me a turn to rush me through this here.
No.
But basically... What?
Sorry.
Basically, the C-32B model is designed for covert operations.
Sorry. There.
There's no real footage of the C-32 other than the one I first showed you with the area refueling. Yeah. This is one of few known shots of the C-32B.
And that was basically probably taken by somebody either in the Air Force...
It was in the Air Force. This was the refueling monitor's camera. Like a staff sergeant in the Air Force. And basically, the C-32B is one of the most advanced aircraft in the world. And most of his operations are block operations, and we had no idea what they are.
Yay! CIA black flights.
Pretty much, yeah.
So this was actually probably coming back from some type of prisoner transport.
Prisoner transport, the SEAL transport, Ranger transport, God, Delta Force transport, pretty much anything you could think of, really. This has even more advanced technology on board than Air Force Two, and is incredibly hard to take down. Okay, now you can advance.
Now they get to have the big fun. Yes, we saved the best for last, guys.
So, this is a Boeing 757-300 showcasing the glass cockpit.
Probably United, isn't it?
Yes, landing at Chicago O'Hare. Last year. So fairly recent. It's a safe guess that this is United, seeing as they have the highest amount of 757s in active service.
And Chicago.
I just said with Chicago.
What do you say?
But Chicago is United's main base and headquarters. This is the height of winter time, and pilots on the left flying, and co-pilots on the right monitoring. And this is all manual. Autopilot has been shut off.
Yeah, because they don't have it for landing yet. Alright, here we go.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Tech Minion fails again. Anyway.
There's 4 failures in this video.
Yeah, we're trying a bunch of things, but yes. So, as we were saying, it was a very good flight. Well done. It was United in Chicago in the winter.
On manual, there was no autopilot on that. And when you saw in the beginning him tapping 4,000, 4,000 was the MDA, or minimum descent altitude, 4,000 feet. Of course, he passed that very quickly, but he came to that and then just then below that for landing.
While it was, and as we said, while we were muted because of my specials, it seemed like a much harder landing, which is why we noticed the pilot grab above the instruments to steady himself. Now we have to remember that this is also wintertime. It is icy, so they do have to come down a little bit harder to make sure that the wheels catch. Because if they don't, you basically have a gigantic, how many ton?
Roughly 150 ton.
You have a 150 ton slip and slide, which anybody who has watched air crash disasters has seen it happen. So if you guys do want to watch sometimes with 757 failures and then being investigated, that is a good show.
Also, they cover 767s, 777s, 737 Maxes, and the 747s, of course, of which there have been at least 32 hull losses. And their Airbus equivalents. Now, surprisingly enough, or maybe not surprisingly, Airbus has a relatively safe safety rating as opposed to Boeing.
Yeah. I know I'm going to probably butcher his name, but J.M. Clogg said the guy was probably a Navy pilot, which I have to agree. I mean, we're talking at least Navy or Air Force, somebody who has flown that type of stuff, because they don't mess around. It's not like you're going to be getting an Army or Marine grunt.
This is true, yeah. Well, considering Army mostly flies helicopters, and
That
Marines...
That is true.
Marines are a bit hot in the stick anyway. But, that is almost all we have for you today. Just about anyway. We are 2 weeks away from our departure time for Germany.
And as we said in the beginning of the video, once we get back, we'll try and get this a whole lot better set up. It's just we've had a lot going on, and while we're trying to get our funds set up with everything, we are kind of doing this in a setup studio that is not the prettiest thing. But again, the more you guys join Patreon, and
the more you subscribe to my channel, which helps me monetize.
Yeah, no flare to land. He's right. Yeah, but yeah. So the more subscriptions, the more that you follow the channel. We are going to have both raw and edited video of the trip to Germany when we get back. If you subscribe to Patreon, then you do get the behind-the-scenes stuff. We do try and upload as much. Plus, you get some extra stuff with access to...
I upload at least once a week, and shorts at least 3 times a week, or on average, overall.
But with the Patreon donation, I know we don't have it really as much listed because, again, lack of time.
Well, I have it linked on my YouTube page, or my channel, on the About link. All you gotta do is click.
Yeah.
And it's right there.
But some of the stuff that you guys also get access to is we have a video server as well, where you guys can watch videos and TV shows. So that's what you get access to with Patreon. So it's not just these videos as well and the instructions. It's a lot of other wonderful fun things. And plus, don't forget that if you guys subscribe to the Brooke In The Air channel, once she reaches a certain amount, what happens?
Once I reach 350 plus subscribers, that's 350 plus, my channel effectively becomes monetized. I join the big leagues, but more importantly, I get to take one lucky person who enters the contest And all you have to do to enter the contest is to subscribe to my channel, and I put you into a pool. I pull your name out of the proverbial, not a literal, but a proverbial hat.
We might pull it out of a hat. We might pull it out of the captain's cap.
And that person wins a trip with me on a 5-star airline departing from the U.S. to and back to a 5-star destination to be announced or decided later on.
Yeah. So again, and plus, that gets us back to the Patreon thing as well. The more you guys subscribe to the Patreon, the more you have your friends subscribe, the better level it can get. It can be longer, it can be adventures. Heck, we're talking, depending upon what happens, a full-on trip. And we will try and make sure that most of the adventures are recorded, unless, of course, you guys don't want to. You want it to be private. But this is also to show everything. Plus, let's not forget, don't you have something else coming up that you acquired? That maybe after Germany, maybe before? All your things, all your kits?
Well, I will be having an amenity kit review from flights I've taken before I started the channel. And further on, so I have about 12 amenity kits I'm going to review from first-class flights overall. So while I don't have the actual flights uploaded to YouTube, because again, as I said, they were before I started the channel, I do plan on reviewing those. I have both United amenity kits, both their away kit and their narrowbody kit from their Polaris business class. And I have Lufthansa's premium economy amenity kit, and I have several others, including Thai International, Emirates, Etihad, Qatar, All Nippon Airways, SAS, Scandinavian Airlines, and Air France, British Airways.
Now, of course, also, and this is just a suggestion that I'm throwing out, because she hasn't heard this idea either. Once the monetization happens, and once we get enough Patreons, we are going to potentially offer you guys a poll, of what airline you want to have her review, what class of it, and potentially what airport. Those are 3 possibilities that we could go with. So, yes.
Now, I will review economy if you guys really want, but the problem is, I'll be straight up with you guys on this. Reviewing economy is a little dull and disappointing and overall boring.
And also, everybody's reviewed economy.
Basically, once you've seen one economy seat, you've pretty much seen them all at this point. Because economy class, all you get is a seat.
Ooh, I have a certain amount of legroom. Yay!
I'm not Noel Phillips. I don't go around and just showcase, this is a seat. Here's the seat. Here's the seat. All you get is a seat. No. I want, I will review economy if you guys really, really want. But I'm interested in going to places where you guys are like, ooh, I would like to travel on that.
And plus, if there's cities you want us to review, we're talking the whole package. We're talking the flight, the airport, and the city, depending upon where you guys suggest. Again, if we get enough Patreon members. Because, again, that means more money to play with in the way of, hey, we can actually go to this place. We don't have to save up. Because part of the reasons why not very many travels have happened is because, remember, we're doing all of this off our own money. And we cannot do things immediately.
No disrespect to Non-Stop Dan. I know he funds his flights with his own miles and money.
He's also been doing it longer.
He's been doing it a lot longer. You know, he has his own privilege, his own whatever. He's also a guy, which does come for a lot. Say what you want about gender privilege in society, but being a guy goes a lot longer in the world than being a girl. I'm sorry, but it does. I am truly funding this with my own money. So, all these vlogs, blogs, sites, equipment, videos, trips, tickets, everything like that, reviews, whatnot, that you see are my own. No one is helping with that.
To give you guys an idea, we haven't even gotten a sponsor yet for anything. No sponsored channels whatsoever, no ads whatsoever, anything that has been said about any of the people that we talk about, those are her own opinions.
Yeah.
Like, air crash disasters. She likes watching it, so it's her own opinion it's good.
And Airline, which is a great series produced by A&E on paid cable. I mean, that's just my personal perspective.
Yeah.
That's just me. I would love to be sponsored by it, but I don't hold my breath.
Yeah. It also doesn't help with YouTube's algorithm. Apparently, we both can't talk. YouTube's algorithms are messing up and putting things to the bottom. So if you can't find it, please remember to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell. So you
gotta hit the bell or you won't get notifications. Like I said, I usually post at least once a week for long-form videos, and I post 2 to 3 shorts a week on average.
Yeah. Now, we know that these are a lot longer videos, but that's because we go into detail with stuff. Yeah. When it comes to some of the older videos as well, that we put music over, you don't have to watch through the whole things, but again, since we're kind of a startup, we don't...
Also, for a lot of the drive videos, you'll notice, like, I have a couple of drive videos up that are like 5 hours, 5.5 hours, whatever.
One I think is a 10.
Yeah. They're just like videos of driving with music. Those are just relaxation videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's all pure relaxation. That's something for you to put on when you go to sleep or whatever else.
Yeah.
Something for you to leave on when you like leave the house with your cats or dogs inside. Yeah.
Yeah. To give you guys an idea of our equipment, we use basically some laptops, some webcams for the trips, and yes, they're not asking us to plug them, but right now we've acquired GoPro cameras. So, again, not asking for a sponsorship from them, it's just what we use.
Now, if they happen to sponsor us, we'll gladly take the sponsorship, but
yeah.
we're not asking or hoping for it.
Yeah. If you guys want something, again, specific for us to do, like work on the transitions and everything, we will get to it as soon as we can. We're trying to do as much as we can, but again, as you saw with this, with the muting by accident and everything, we're a little bit out of practice because we only do this roughly every Sunday, except for her shorts.
Which I can just do from my phone at any given time.
But also, if you don't feel like watching a video, or if you can't watch it at work, she does have a blog.
You can go to Brooke In The Air Travel at squarespace.com, or not squarespace.com, something like that. It'll come right up.
Link will be down.
Yeah. Link is on my site anyway, on here. Click on that site and it'll take you to my official travel site. I also offer travel agent services. You can scroll the blog so you can look at anything you want to look at. You can read anything you want to read. I also have travel tips, hints, tricks, anything you can use to make sure your travel experience is amazing.
We will also probably try and do an Ask Me Anything again. And again, with the Ask Me Anything, nothing's really off the table within reason unless you want to be a rude jerk. But that's beside the point.
Unless you want to ask questions like, I'm not YouTube approved.
Oh yeah, that.
In which case, off is the direction in which you can go.
But yeah, I think that's everything.
That is just about everything. Next week, I've already created a blog for next week, so we're good there. And you guys can anticipate a Christmas-themed blog and a Christmas-themed episode for vlogging time, too.
Oh, yay! We can review, Die Hard.
That is not a Christmas movie.
No. I'm talking about the one that happens around Christmas time with the plane crashes.
No.
Alright, anyway.
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the air, and I love you so much. Bye.